autumn has arrived in the Northwoods. A cold wind makes its way across the region as the forest burns bright with color. Join us for an adventure on Minnesota's North Shore as we face the fall in our tiny cabin on wheels. This is Tiny Cabin Life. We're in the Superior National Forest in northern Minnesota. We're set up in our micro cabin on wheels at a dispersed campsite right on the edge of this beautiful wilderness lake. The inland region of Minnesota's North Shore feels much more wild and secluded than the coastline. It's almost like a hidden realm of quiet lakes, winding rivers, and endless ridge lines. As you can see, the wind is absolutely whipping, and the temperatures are starting to get colder as well. I'll show you around our camp here in a moment, but first, we gotta get a little fire going inside the cabin. Our camp is attached to this canoe access for the lake here and seems to have everything that we need. There's a fire ring and a picnic table, and I have to imagine there's a latrine somewhere back there in the forest. This is our first time firing up the wood stove this season, and it feels really good. It's made from a local brand here in Minnesota called Northwoods Fabrication. They make stoves of different shapes and sizes, so if you're looking for one, they're definitely worth checking out. Well, I gotta say, it feels really, really good to have a little fire going in here. Not just because it's warming up the cabin, but also because it's just so relaxing and cozy, being able to watch those flames dance around in the stove and listen to the fire crackle and pop. Got some fun plans for this trip as well. The fall colors are absolutely popping right now, and so I'm hoping we can make our way up into the Sawtooth Mountains and check out some of the views. I also want to try to enjoy our camp here a little bit. Certainly have a fire later on, make some good food, and just soak in the beauty of the forest. After I finish this cup of coffee though, I want to head out on the boat and explore this lake. There are a couple of islands out there, and I would love to see if there's anything on them.
And so I packed up just a little bit of gear and made my way down to the boat landing.
Ah, the old trusty raft. Man, it's pretty windy out. I have a feeling we're gonna have some rough seas out there. However, I have no doubt that this bad boy is up to the task.
Many lakes back here like this one are glacial in origin, meaning they're sitting in depressions scoured out by ice. They tend to have rocky shorelines with very cold water, which is slightly amber or tea-colored due to tannins leaching out from the forest soils and wetlands. They also tend to have little islands and peninsulas, and that's exactly what we're heading out to explore today.
All right, well, we are out on the water. The wind is whipping, but our motor is plowing straight ahead. We just got to make our way through this little channel here, and then we'll be out in the larger part of the lake. And there's our first island, straight ahead. I think what we'll do is head there first, pull up to shore, and get out and explore it a little bit. And then that right there is the second smaller island. We'll check that one out next. Whenever I'm wandering through these very thick and overgrown islands, I'm always kind of wondering if I'm gonna startle a black bear. I don't know why they would necessarily be out here, but they can definitely swim, and so there's always that possibility. These little islands are so fascinating to me. I just love how there's this little ecosystem out here in the middle of the water. I just think it's really cool. Now what I'm looking for here is whether there's either an established campsite or anywhere that could be a good campsite. It's just always fun to know of these types of places in case we want to come back in the future. It's very overgrown, and there's a lot of deadfall, that's for sure. Here we go. Yes, a little campsite. It's really hard to tell when this was used last, but if the fire ring is any indication, it has been a very, very long time. You can see they've got a little bit of firewood stacked there, and it looks weathered, like it's been there for years. And then they've even got a little cooking grate there as well, which, you know, really comes in handy when you're out at these very primitive campsites. Something like this would be really fun during the winter time if I could somehow get my snowmobile up here and drag our snowmobile cabin. I don't know if that would really be possible though. It's just too thick on the shoreline. I want to see if there's like a formal landing spot. Oop, here it is. This is definitely the landing, and you can see there's actually a little trail here as well. We got some Forest Service signage here. The only other signs of human life that we've seen other than that camp.
This sign marks a land survey monument, which usually defines property boundaries or other official survey lines. It serves as a fixed reference point to tie the invisible lines on a map to real measurable locations on the ground.
Here's the official survey, and you can see it was put in 1994. So at this point, this thing's been here for about 30 years. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how old that camp is as well.
This is public land owned by the Forest Service, but this monument might have marked the point where they purchased the land from a private landowner. Either way, we're not trespassing or anything. We just have to leave this monument the way we found it and keep on our way.
This is why I love exploring these little islands. You really never know what you're gonna find. From that tiny camp over there to this land survey monument, there's just so much to uncover, and it's a lot of fun.
Now with island number 1 out of the way, it's time to head to the smaller island and see if we can't find something over there.
I'm gonna try to be a little smarter this time around and circle the island and see if we can find like a natural landing point. Hopefully it'll make things a little easier than where we had to land on the last island there. I just saw something swimming around up here. It's most likely a beaver because it popped down underneath the water once it kind of saw me coming. We'll see if whatever it is pops its head back up again. Ooh, it's a loon. Very cool. What do we have here? Is this a landing? It's very, very steep, and I don't see a trail like the last one, but I suppose this could be a little spot where people have gotten on this island. Well, we better check it out, huh? I don't know. This one seems pretty inhospitable. Oop. This is something right here. Someone definitely made camp at one point right here. I mean, look, these rocks are clearly arranged by a human in the shape of a fire ring, and it's backed up against this big boulder here. Maybe at the time when someone established this camp, there was more room to set up a tent up there, because if you take a look, these pines are very, very young, maybe only even like 20 years old or less. And so with that, you know, it's very likely that this island looked a lot different when the people were camped out here.
After exploring the islands, I took a brief moment to try to do some fishing. However, the fish didn't seem to be biting, so I headed back to camp to make a little bit of breakfast.
Got a nice breakfast sandwich here with some bacon, egg, cheese, and I did drizzle a little bit of hot sauce on there as well. That is very, very good. And I have to say, I'm pretty starving after being out on the lake for so long.
After breakfast, it was finally time to leave camp so we could get out and do some hiking. We're headed towards Lutsen to hopefully hike up into the Sawtooths to check out some of these fall colors.
Now, I'm a little nervous that the trail is going to be crowded because this time of year brings a lot of people to the North Shore, and Lutsen is certainly a hot spot. Now, you can bet a lot of people will be taking the gondola up into the mountains there. It's awesome. I've done it a few times before. And so hopefully, since we're choosing to do it on foot, there will be fewer people and we'll get a little bit of solitude out there.
We're taking the Superior hiking trail from the Ski Hill Road here in Lutsen up to the top of Moose Mountain. It's almost 2 miles up to the top with about 700 feet of elevation gain.
Well, we are out here on the trail, and so far so good. It seems like there's not a ton of people out hiking. Most of them were in fact taking the gondola up. We went by just a crowd of people, and so I think we made the right choice here. Oh, wow.
This is the Poplar River, a beautiful waterway rushing down through this incredible gorge. It's roughly 21 miles long and begins high up in the Superior National Forest before dumping out into Lake Superior just below Lutsen Ski Resort here. It drops roughly 600 feet in elevation, and the gorge section here is one of its steepest points of descent and creates just an incredible view as we begin our hike here.
Wow, is that an incredible view? All right, we're gonna take a quick pause in the adventure so I can tell you about Anker SOLIX and how their C2000 Gen 2 power station helps keep me powered out here on the road and at home. It not only powers our entire cabin right here, we're talking the lights, camera equipment, phones, computers, but it also powers all of our emergency equipment like our satellite internet, GPS devices, and it keeps our refrigerator in there powered as well. With only 9-watt idle power consumption, it's the world's first 2 kilowatt-hour portable power station with idle power consumption under 10 watts. What that basically means is this thing is not going to lose much power while it's just sitting there, so it's going to be ready to go when you need it. If we have a power outage at home, this thing will run our refrigerator for over 30 hours, which is plenty of time for crews to get out there and get the power turned back on. I also love that it's expandable. You can expand it up to 4 kilowatt hours with additional batteries. There are 6 ways to recharge this thing as well. Of course, you can do it from an AC outlet, and it will charge up extremely fast. You can also use solar, which we have installed on the cabin here. And if you use AC and solar, it will charge up in only 58 minutes. Aside from being extremely powerful, I love how lightweight and compact it is. It's super quiet as well, so much more than a gas generator. And with 4,000 watt peak power, this thing will run most appliances. We're talking a washer, dryer, oven, or even a space heater. So if you want to check out the Anker SOLIX C2000 Gen 2, you can follow the link in the description of this video. And with that, let's get back to the adventure. Look at all of this color. It's always amazing to me how the sun shining through the leaves just casts that golden hue over everything.
You know you're still on the Superior hiking trail when you see these blue blazes on the trees. The trail itself is about 310 miles and begins near Duluth, Minnesota, going all the way up to the Canadian border. It's easily one of the most impressive trails in all of the Midwest.
Man, this last section is steep. Whew. It's basically straight up the slope. No real switchbacks at all. Whew. All right, we have topped off and we're just steps away from finally getting a view of how far we've come up. In fact, here you go. Oh, wow.
After a long hike through the forest, we're finally catching a glimpse of the Sawtooth Mountain peaks. And as you can see, the leaves create a kaleidoscope of color that just sweeps through the countryside. But I think the most fascinating part of all of this to me is the fact that the trees down by the coast of Lake Superior have yet to change color. And it just goes to show that even in flat old Minnesota, a little bit of elevation goes a very long ways.
This right here is why we hiked up this trail. You've got every color imaginable out there. Yellow, orange, red, green, everything in between as well. And we came from further down than you can even see right now. And it feels really good to know that we used our 2 legs, or in Ellie's case, 4, to get up here. You just feel super accomplished, and it's a really special and unique experience. Man, the wind is whipping up here. Wow. You got it, Elle. You got it. You got it. Good girl.
Coming out of the forest puts us into a completely different world. We've reunited with the crowds of people who have taken the gondola up here to enjoy the fall colors. But thankfully, we'll get some solitude once again as we make our way past the chalet and head down the road towards the truck.
Not gonna lie, it would be kind of nice to be on one of those right now. We're back, baby. We just did about a 5-mile loop up the Superior hiking trail and then down the road and connected back right there at the Poplar River. Man, oh man, what a trek.
Back at the cabin, it was finally time to settle down for the day and put together a little campfire.
That was quite a hike. Man. It's strange because we didn't get like mountain views, you know, the whole time. We really only got like a few right at the end. But just the whole journey was very, very satisfying. To do a big loop like that, covering, 5 miles and making our way totally around one of the mountains here and back. That was pretty cool. Well, I got a couple jalapeno brats here with pepper jack cheese and hot sauce. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to dig in. That is good. I know a lot of people would probably prefer ketchup and mustard with a brat, but with this jalapeno one, the pepper jack cheese and hot sauce is just phenomenal.
Well, I've been sitting in here for the last little while trying to decide what to do in the morning. We could either try to go fishing out on the lake, or we could make our way over to another peak and try to be up there at sunrise when no one will be there. I think I'm leaning towards checking out another peak. We've done a lot of fishing lately, and man, the colors are just so fantastic right now, and it's just so special being up in the Sawtooths. I think I'll decide first thing in the morning, though. Until then, I'm going to get some sleep. Good night. I ran out of fuel for my little stove that goes over there, so got to use the big boy for coffee. tell by now, I decided we're gonna head up into the Sawtooths. We're going to Carlton Peak, which I've never really been to before. I've seen it from afar, and I didn't realize, but you can actually like drive all the way up there. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna take the easy way today and hopefully be the only ones up there taking in a beautiful view of sunrise. It's a little bit of a rocky road getting up here. So we're now officially on the trail up to the peak, and gotta say, Crocs weren't the best choice of footwear for this. Oh well, they'll get me there and back. Oh wow, we made it. This is incredible. If anyone tries to argue that the Sawtooths aren't a real mountain range, look at this view and try to convince me otherwise. We are so high up, just towering over Lake Superior and the surrounding forest. And the rocky summit up here is so rugged and frankly treacherous if you weren't to come at it from the right approach. And it's for this reason right here that the Superior National Forest and the North Shore region is my favorite area to explore in the state.
Coming down from Carlton, we decided to make our way over to Tofte Peak, which was just off another short spur trail. From there, we should be able to get views to the north and be able to spot more incredible fall colors.
Oh, wow.
Tofte Peak here offers one of the most underrated yet spectacular panoramic views of the North Shore. You get a nearly 360-degree view of not only Lake Superior, but the surrounding peaks of the Sawtooths and far inland as well. The summit is made up of exposed basalt ledges, which provides a rugged and impressive platform to take in the views.
Well, I gotta say, the view here from Tofte Peak is even more impressive than Carlton. First off, you get to see all of Lake Superior and the Sawtooth Mountains all from the same vantage point. But on top of that, we get to see Carlton Peak just towering above us, and it just adds another dimension to the view and the experience up here, and it's very, very cool.
This adventure turned out to be more incredible than I could have ever imagined. Not only were we able to hike up into the Sawtooths and take in the views of the highlands, but I was also able to get out onto the water and explore a remote lake that had some fascinating surprises. But I think my greatest takeaway from this experience was discovering once again that you can indeed find solitude even in the most popular of places. It just takes going off the beaten path, or in our case today, getting up a little earlier than maybe you'd like to. But in either case, in my experience, it is always worth that extra effort.
I want to give a special shout out to our patrons who generously donate to this channel, but again, all of you who come along on these adventures, watch, comment, subscribe to the channel. You're all the reason that we get to come out here and go on these adventures and share them with you, and I am so incredibly grateful for that. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now, we've been on a little bit of an extended road trip here. You know, we started at this A-frame on Lake Superior, then we came here, and now we're headed to our last stop, this awesome log cabin near Ely, Minnesota. We've got some awesome adventures planned for up there, so I hope you'll come back next week to check it out. But as for now, I gotta get us packed up so we can hit the road. We'll see you next week. God bless.